Hey, it's Kaero. Welcome back to the channel. This is part 15 of generating and rating magic cards using artificial intelligence by Urzas A.I. If you like the video, please hit that thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Rating scale 10 is an absolute bomb. 0, unplayable. Without further ado, let's go. All right, let's check out our first card. Time Passage, 1 blue, 1 generic instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand and learn. Oh, from the Strixhaven set, you can get a lesson card from outside the game from your sideboard and put it into your hand or discard a card to draw a card. I think this card's pretty sweet. It's a 2-mana learn bounce. And you can bounce your own creature, you can bounce theirs. It's like a straight up unsummon for 2, but you also get to get big lessons. I like this. I'm going to say it's like a 6. Next card is Blade Apparatus. 1 colorless mana for an artifact. Tap 1 colorless mana, tap it to draw a card. Okay, Blade Apparatus. I'm putting this in every deck. What's the flavor text? Your lesson may have started with a challenge to see how many bones you can cram into your arms. Sarkin Vol. Listen, Sarkin, if you want me to do a challenge to see how many bones I can cram into my arms and you'll teach me how to make Blade Apparatus, that's fine. Give me the bones. Give me the bones, Sarkin. Give me the Blade Apparatus. It's a 10 for me. Next we have Cinder, Wind, Light. 1 red, 2 generic for an elemental creature at 1/1. Tap 1 red mana, or spend 1 red mana, tap it. Cinder, Wind, Light deals 1 damage to target creature. It's a 3-drop 1/1 that can ping something, but it can't even just tap to ping. You have to spend mana to do it. I think this is probably like a 2 or a 3. I don't even think this gets played in limited. What's the flavor text? Its warmth makes it more susceptible to being picked up by the wind. That's a really good flavor text for this, honestly, generated by the AI. If this is like a wind, light, fire elemental that's like very airy and can be picked up by the wind, that's really cool. I like that flavor text. But the card, not good. Next card is Thassa's Caress. 1 blue instant. Put target creature on top of its owner's library. Interesting. So this is like an unsummon, but instead of going back to hand, it goes on the top of the owner's library. Now this is bad if you have to use it on your own creature to protect it because you're stopping yourself from drawing, but it's kind of cool to use on your opponents, and it's more beneficial than even bouncing it back to their hand because then you're stopping them from drawing a card and then having access to that card anyway because it would typically go to their hand. So this is actually cool. This is a cool design, and I think this is a pretty good card where unsummon is used offensively. Are you seeing the art that I'm seeing? Is that a guy bent over? Is that his head and arm? Because if not, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But keep it G. Keep it G rated. PG. What's the flavor text? It offers the middleman a lifetime of payment. Okay, Thassa's Caress. I think I see what's going on here. I'm gonna say it's like a 5. Next we have Unholy Simulacrum. 1 black, 3 generic. It doesn't have any power and toughness, and the text box, it's a zombie. You can pay 1 black, 1 generic to sacrifice Unholy Simulacrum to exile Unholy Simulacrum, exile Unholy Simulacrum, exile Unholy Simulacrum, exile. Okay, can't rate it. It's not a card, but it's great. I really want you to exile Unholy Simulacrum. So I guess you sack this, and if there's another one on the field, you can exile that one, or you can exile this one. So there you go. I guess this could be paired with effects where, like, when something gets exiled, it gets a counter or something like that, and then it just, like, piles up the counters. Do all of these resolve? I think they all do. They all trigger, right? Interesting. Next card is Freed from the Tides. 1 blue instant. Target creature gains Shroud until end of turn. If you're not familiar with Shroud, it's an ability that was around probably like 10 years ago or so, and it just means it can't be target of spells or abilities. They've kind of done away with it, and they've gone in further of hexproof, meaning it can't be the target of your opponent's spells or abilities. But even so, 1 blue mana to give something Shroud. It's kind of like a snakeskin veil or something. It protects something from removal, but we want more from these days, so we'd like to see attack on effect of like at least a scry 1 if it's in blue. The green one gives a counter, so like it's not great. It's probably like a 2 or a 3. It does its job, but we want a little something extra with the power creep, a little spicy. Next up we have Daybreak Swordfish. 1 blue, 1 generic for a human pirate So it's not an actual swordfish, it's Daybreak swordfish, and it's a pirate. So is that like its pirate name? Do we have like Blackbeard, and then like we've got Daybreak swordfish over there too? It's a 2/3 pirate. And it can't be blocked except by creatures with power 2 or less. Okay, that's actually kind of cool because it has 3 toughness, you'll notice. So if you're attacking and then they have a blocker that's like that has 3 power, i.e. enough to kill Daybreak Swordfish, can't block it. That's actually really cool. I think this is nice. Even if they play something they think they're going to be able to get some blocks in, you just keep hammering damage in, and there's no limitation on blocking it like based on Daybreak Swordfish's power. So you can actually buff this thing to maybe like a 3/4, 5/4, or 5/6, something like that, 4/5, and then just start swinging. And then by that time, if they have a bigger creature, then this maybe kills it anyway. No, because it can't be blocked by big creatures. So then you just automatically, if you put counters on this thing and you go in, you're just killing every creature that they block with it, unless they double block. But this is pretty good. What's the flavor text? We don't know if this makes him bad. Maybe not. All right. Feels like the flavor text is like all about the card evaluation. Is it good? Is it bad? Swordfish, human pirate? I think it's like a 6. I think it's cool. I like the design. Next card is Fallen Spear, 1 red, 3 generic for a human archer. It's weird that it's an archer and it's a spear. Okay. 2/2 first strike. For 4, not great. What's the flavor text? Fallen Spears make perfect weapons that are unkillable. Duduk the Arbalest. Jaraga Warrior. Duduk. Okay. Or maybe that's Duduke or something like that. Card's not good, but I have a question. If Fallen Spears make the perfect weapons that are unkillable, does this have indestructible? Can it be killed? Maybe it can't be killed in combat? No? Okay. Then in that case, it's a 2. So, you know what time it is. If we saw Duduk the Arbalest in the last card, we have to make him, right? So here's Duduk the Arbalest, Jaraga Warrior. 1 black, I believe, 3 generic for human peasant, 3 power, 3 toughness. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent discards a card. I don't know. If you can keep him on the board, pretty cool. I feel like they would remove him very quickly. But 4-drop with 3/3... 3/3 power. I think it's a 4. There could be another minus symbol in there, but I'm not sure. If it is 4, I'm going to give it a rating of probably like a 6, maybe a 7, because every turn this stays on the board. When it comes back to your turn, they have to discard a card. It's turn 4. Let's say maybe they have 2, 3, 4. I mean, I don't know. They at least have some cards left in their hand, right? Even for aggro decks, they can't really slam it out that fast unless you're playing like mono red goblins or something. So I think you at least get 1 or 2 cards off your opponent on this. And then if they draw one and they don't play it, they have to discard it. So I'm going to say it's 5. 6. Drudge Skeleton, which is already a card, but it's a black card from, I believe it costs 2 mana, 1/1, and you could regenerate it from like back in one of Magic's older sets from the 90s. 2 mana for a 1/1 artifact creature skeleton, so it can go in any deck. Pay 2, tap it. You may put a price counter on target artifact creature. Then if it doesn't win the fight, gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay, so can we work this with fight spells? So pay 2 mana, put a price counter on something, and then if you cast the fight spell and it doesn't win, then that creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn? So like, in what scenario, if it doesn't win, that means it's dead, right? Unless your creature's indestructible, and you fight, and then it gets a counter because it can't die from the fight. I don't know. This card is basically unplayable everywhere, but it's really funny. So like the card itself, as far as flavor and humor, is going to be a 10. But like it's like a 1, right? It's not even playable. It's nonsense. What's the flavor text? As long as you live, Drudge will wear that crown of lost soldiers. You wear that crown, Drudge. You don't let anybody tell you you're not playable. You wear the crown. Next, we have Nested Terrain, 1 green, 1 generic for a Goblin Shaman, 0 power, 2 toughness. Landfall. When a land enters the battlefield, if you control another land, which I would hope you would if this costs more than 0, create a 2/2 green beast creature token. Okay, I can get behind this card. The 0/2 doesn't do anything, but it just keeps generating you beasts, especially if you draw lands that sack to then go get other lands. So you play one of the, like, what is it? Fabled Passage, things like that. Then you can make two 2/2 beasts for one land. Pretty cool little generator. I think, what's the flavor? As he flew the first time, when it emerged from the earth, he found it swarmed with bugs. Okay, so we actually see the art portraying that. It emerged from the earth, and it looks like it has like spider webs and bugs and all that stuff on it. So pretty cool design from the AI. I'm going to give this like a 6 or 7. I like this card. Next up, we have Sulphurous Noxious Poison. All right. A little redundant with the Sulphurous Noxious Poison, but like they just really want to drive the point home. Like this, you do not breathe this. 1 black, 2 generic for an instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 till end of turn. These effects are not bad, but we don't want them to cost 3. We want them to cost 1, maybe 2 in like a limited environment, but this is way overcosted. If this costs 1, like it would be fine for certain formats, especially against aggro and stuff. What's the flavor text? The dead drop the dead to us. Tajik warrior. Okay. Yeah, as it stands right now with this cost, it's a 2. Like, if you really need removal in limited, you're like, okay, I guess I'll take Sulphurous Noxious Poison, but like, no way does this ever see constructed play. Here we have Remind. 1 blue, 2 generic for an instant. Choose one, 2 modes on it. Destroy target artifact, or put target artifact on top of its owner's library. Really? Okay, so artifact destruction's usually in like red and green, sometimes white. To have this in blue is really intriguing. Or say it's an artifact that does something when it goes to the graveyard, like you can exile it from the graveyard to have an effect, or if it's a big thing that they want to reanimate or something like that, or it has some potential for being bad in the graveyard, you can just put it on top of their library, they draw it again, they can most likely play it again, but interesting having the 2 modes. I think you almost always destroy it, except for very situational things, but it costs 3. I mean, it's kind of a lot. So let's say this card costs 3 and it was destroy target artifact, or put target artifact on the bottom of its owner's library. That would be better. Like if you didn't want it to be in the graveyard. I think it's probably like a 3 or... It's a very situational card. It's a sideboard card. Probably a 3 or 4, but the fact that it's in blue is interesting. The flavor text is, for each level of each freedom, it fights the first thing on its right. Okay, I don't know what that means, but yeah, it's like a 3. Next one up is Living Soulless with horrific art. Just like a torso with no lower half and then something in the background. It's 1 black, 3 generic for a zombie. 3/3 for 4. And when Living Soulless dies, exile it. It's not good. It's like a 2. But what's the flavor? Not living, not disfigured, not augments. It doesn't have the swamp syndrome. All right. So this is like a friend. So this is somebody that's like, hey, you mind if I invite Living Soulless to the party? He goes by Steve, but his name's Living Soulless. And you're like, well, describe him to me before I let him come to the party. And you're like, okay, well, first of all, he's not living, but he's not disfigured, not augments, and he doesn't have swamp syndrome. Can he come? I don't know. You make the decision. Let me know in the comments if Living Soulless Steve can come to your party. Finally, for this last card, it's Lightning Crasher. 1 red, 3 generic for an elemental shaman. Good creature type. It's a 3/3. When Lightning Crasher enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each player. Deals 3 damage to itself and has 3 toughness. It's a Savage Thunder of Pure Defiance is the flavor. Okay, so this is like a 4-mana board wipe that can't be countered by negate and deals 3 damage to each creature and each player. Although, if you have a card that, say, makes creatures enter with counters, this could enter as a 4/4 and then deal 3 damage to each creature and player. But still, it's asking a lot for a very specific way that this doesn't come in and immediately just kill itself and everything else that doesn't have 4 toughness. I really like the audacity of this card. It's just super bold. It is a lightning crasher, indeed. Um, it's not. It's just a situational. It's just a weird card. So I'm gonna give it like a 3. If you can make it come in with higher toughness than that, it could potentially do some stuff, but I don't know. It's a 3. We'll keep with the 3. 3 damage, 3 power, 3 toughness, 3 rating. There you go. That's going to conclude the generating and rating artificial intelligence magic cards video for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up for me. It helps me to bring the channel to more viewers. Consider subscribing for future episodes. And if you're a standard player or you play Magic right now, there's Dominaria United card ratings on the channel, as well as some arena gameplay coming up. Have a great day.